Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Triple F. You are chiming in. It's Thursday, the 29th. We are excited to host our finance show today. We have had an incredible show the last couple of weeks about faith and family, and we're finishing off finances. And I couldn't think of a better person to host and share about how to elevate our finances, especially experiencing a pandemic out of nowhere, right? It hit us right in the mouth like a left hook that we didn't see. But we're excited today that we get to rebuild and build stronger and better by gaining new insights and wisdom from somebody who's been able to do it at a greater capacity. So we are excited here at Triple F to provide those content for you to better your family, to better your faith, and then also your finances as well. So we want to welcome, I call him the guru himself, Tony Scotty, to the show. We have the honor. I know that he's got his hand in so many things in the community, but he has taken time to be with us here, also with his businesses and family. So, but he's taking the time to be with us today. So, Tony, I'll definitely turn it over to you. Introduce yourself to our Triple F audience here as when we jump into it. Tell them about a little bit about yourself and your background.
Oh, thank you, Danny, and thank you for allowing me to be here. And it's kind of neat that you had the elevate your finances, because at one point in time we had an email, 808 elevate. Yeah, so it's kind of a neat thing to see that. Yeah. So Tony Scotty, I like that title, Managing Director of Epic Training and Development. We actually have got through our process to where we started off, and I'll talk a little bit more about where I started, but basically not having a whole lot of background in real estate and small business and running things. I was an employee working in different opportunities throughout my career. And about every 3 years, I'd have to switch roles to try to get a raise or try to get ahead. But Epic Training and Development is our nonprofit. We actually have a nonprofit here in Kaneohe. You can go to the next slide. We're doing sports development. We're doing community outreach, as well as we do. You can jump to the next one. As well as we do financial training. So our three pillars are, family financial foundations. On the education side, we have batting cages for the kids, where we're running, about 600 kids a month right now through here. Finally, now that things are open, and our whole goal here is to keep the cost of youth sports down. In Hawaii and Kaneohe, our costs are about $50 a head is what it costs for about a 2-hour session. And what we do is we go out and look for subsidies and grants and donations to keep that cost down. So we charge $10 for an hour and a half to a 2-hour session per kid. That way they can get in more often, and they can get more exercise and more training. And eventually our goal is to get that from that $10 for 2 hours down to $5. And the way we do that is by, basically understanding how business works, understanding how finance works, understand how raising money and helping the community works. So some of the other things we do what we have our Epic Foundations series, where we have Epic Foundations, which is basically understanding debt reduction and credit repair. We have our next tier of our company is Epic Transformation, where we actually enroll people in programs. We're not going to talk too much about those programs tonight, but we try to get people out of debt, whether they're got consumer debt, credit repair issues. We also work into small businesses and how to get yourself in, stabilize your business, operate your business, even starting up your business through some of the things that I've done over the years. I have a fair amount of properties, and I have a fair amount of businesses that I operate. This is a picture of me recording for Renatus. I'm an instructor for a national company, so I get to travel all over the country and teach, and I teach advanced real estate strategies. We start off with basically how to get started in real estate and work our way through investing in multiple properties and replacing your income. But most of that started with the initial foundation of getting out of debt. So helping people, get that foundational debt out of the way. That's kind of what we do with that. So go ahead and go to the next picture. Next slide. And this is a lot of the reason why we do this. Basically, with the 3 pillars of community outreach, that's what my wife's very strong in. She's been doing community outreach for many, many years. And where she goes to church and we go to church, the outreach has decreased over the years. And so what we've done is helped and taken over some of those programs, such as we go next door to Kalananani and we do popcorn and pizza, and we have fun with them, tug of war. We play hula hoop, and we little fitness stuff. We've gave away dresses this year. Macy's Ala Moana gave us a bunch of dresses. We're able to afford those dresses to the community. We just recently did a painting project where we beautified our facility. The landlord we painted the wall for our parking area so we can get our new parking signs up. And multiple things throughout the community. There's a tremendous amount there, and that's what my wife focuses on. My focus, of course, is the financial education, and my son there. That was the first day there in the picture where we're doing the high five when I started investing in real estate. That was the day I closed on my first investment property, and I became self-employed. And so we spent a lot of time at the beach, and that's one of those days that I remember. It's August 18th, 2008. Then there's my son graduating from elementary school. He was actually class president, which is kind of cool. And I'm not sure, I was never class anything, but so he was able to do that. But that's a little bit about my background, and I don't want to keep too long on this part of the topic, but I'd like to get in some of the questions and kind of how things are and how things look, and maybe some outlook of what's going on, and maybe answer some questions if we get to that point.
No, that's awesome. No, we appreciate you, because I think our audience get more of not only a big picture of who you are and what you're about and what you're doing today. So I know that you just share so much about the big picture of what you're doing today, but I know that people see you today where you are currently standing in the moment. And some people say, well, I can't do that. Well, they're good for you, Tony. But share with us, there was a time, it wasn't always like this, right? Could you share that, where you started from and where you came from and what drove you to discipline yourself to a point where now you have bought back your time and you're giving back to society?
Yeah, and it was a struggle, because basically, you see that picture there. My I was working, never made more. I made 6 figures one time in the last 30 years of working for companies, and I think we were averaging in our family income when my son was born. We were making a little over $50,000 a year with one income with a mortgage in Hawaii. And so when we moved in this direction, I had been working from job to job, and I used to work for Medical here in Hawaii, and I made ice cream, and that's a pretty cool job, and that's fun, but it was a job. And then I moved on and worked for other companies, and it became a job and a job. And what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to be the dad that wasn't around for my son because I was working too many hours. And just before I did quit my job, I was working 60 plus hours. And in my retirement plan, we had set aside some money for retirement. And, with the 2001, the 401k went down to a 201k. And then, 2003, it went down. In 2008, of course, the markets crashed again, and the housing market crashed. And it was time for a change, and I had no background in real estate, no financial background, no knowledge, no real estate network, and no money. We didn't have a whole lot of money. We started off our investing career using a line of credit. The challenge is at the same time I was learning how to use a line of credit and get myself out of debt, I invested in a real estate education program. So side by side, I started basically with not a whole lot of resources. And so when someone says, oh, good for you, Tony, or you got this extra thing, I didn't. I mean, literally when I was working at Medical, I had an accountant sitting next to me because I didn't understand business finance at all. And so now I'm a quote, expert or guru on business finance, because I understand how it works, because I do it every single day. But when I started off, it was really, really tough. I just wanted change because I didn't want to be working the amount of hours. I mean, when I was working for the company prior to leaving, I was working 60 plus hours a week as in a sales position. I was traveling 3 or 4, if not 5 times a year to the mainland for training. And that just took me away from my family. And that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted something different. I didn't even get a chance to enjoy where I live in Hawaii. And that's where we started. So that's like the starting point was a frustration, no retirement plan, no sight of retirement no line of retirement in sight.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to where you're coming from, and definitely when you talk about how it's really tough and really hard, right? But you still invested in an educational program that literally changed the way your finances is today. Kind of speak on that, of like, you know, now that you're here, that you're able to get your finances in order. What does that provide? I know you touch on the nonprofit, you're able to give back, but from a standpoint of like the reward that comes with it, right? It's not only just buying back the time, but being present in your son's life. I know that's really huge for you. For somebody that's sitting at home saying, "Man, if I don't do nothing different in this year and the next 5 years, my life is going to look the same," So can you share a little bit of light on that, of the lifestyle and the importance of the sacrifice you have made to get to this point to enjoy the lifestyle?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing when you talk about the sacrifice you made, if you notice, my hair is very dark in that picture, and now it's very light. That's one of the things. But the other thing is, I mean, basically we had to switch roles. My wife, when my son was born in 2006, she was a stay-at-home mom. And when, I was just literally, exploding and stressed out and just wasn't a happy person. And when we decided to invest in real estate, we kind of switched roles, where she went back to work and then I became full-time dad. And I spent a lot of time with my son, doing the things we needed to do. And when she went back to work, she didn't have to work a whole lot of hours, but we had to work. But those first couple of years, I mean, we were on the rice and ramen diet. I mean, investing in real estate, when I started, it wasn't that easy. But I many times said, hey, maybe I should just go back and get a job, because, I had a degree and everything. But my challenge was I couldn't get along with my boss. So I was having a hard time getting resumes out there, and they wanted a reference. I was like, well, I don't know if I can give you any references other than, my personal ones. So it was, we got to the point where we had to make a change. We had to do something, and we had to focus. And so from about 2008, that's when that picture is, to about 2011, I was doing this, I was doing that, I was going every which way until I started focusing. But it comes down to, we were at our church, and there's this book called The Sun Stands Still. And in that Sun Stands Still book, it talks about making God-sized goals. And I made a God-sized goal in the fact that, hey, I want to have the largest financial literacy company in Hawaii. I wanted to do more. I wanted to be able to, invest in real estate, get myself going, be able to provide for my family, but also be able to give back in the legacy side. Because when I started this program, I saw the nonprofit and the foundations and the stuff. That was at the end. There was like 10 different things I had to do, and that was one of the things that was at the end. And I was like, if I gave up, many times my wife kicked me in the head, said, look, this stuff works. You got to go do it. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing. And so in 2012, we made that goal. And I think 2012, by that time, we had about 9 properties. And from 2012 to 2015 or 2014, we went from 9 properties to 50 houses. And those 50 houses are for me and investors. And so I was working with investors. Not only that, all the time I was doing that, I was just cramming this education, and I was doing it, building teams and building networks and recording everything through teaching. And so I've been teaching everything that I've been learning. And that's one of the neat things about what I do, is I teach you all the things that I did wrong, as well as some of the good stuff. But I learned them through mistakes, and helping people through your own mistakes is one way. But that's kind of the where we were. It was, our drive was just, hey, we know this thing works. You just got to push forward. And one of my famous statements is activity creates activity. In 2012, if I sat back and just, woe is me, I would have never got there. And even during this COVID situation, we sat back and it's crazy, but we just started doing things, and just activity creates activity. And all of a sudden you get so busy that you don't have time for anything. But if you sat back, you're not going to get anywhere. So you had to move forward. You have to have that motivation to keep pushing. I think that's kind of what the feeling was beginning, and how it relates to even now. I mean, on a regular basis, when bumps hit the road, you just got to push through them.
No, that's good. That's good. Because I think like everyone waits till the time is perfect, right? Like it's got to be the perfect time. I got to meet the perfect person. I got to be at the right place. It's got to be the right opportunity. And like you say, activity creates activity. It's like motion creates motion. And you just never know. I love the way you framed it. You say you can learn through your mistakes, right? Like if we don't make any mistakes, it means we're not moving towards financial freedom or towards freedom in general. And so I appreciate that. I think that will, definitely help a lot of people who maybe want to step into a new endeavor, trying something different. That's an encouragement that we want to encourage others to get involved. Whether it's entrepreneurship, something that not only you can do to create financial returns, but also bring light into the community, make a difference in the community in that way. So appreciate that, brother. Look, let's jump on to the next question here. Based on your experience, obviously you got your finger to the pulse of the marketplace. What do you see some of the problems we're encountering today, especially with pre-COVID and then now recovering, in the next couple of years? What do you see? Do you see opportunities there? Do you see, challenges? And what could an entrepreneur with an open-minded be able to do to benefit from the market in this time?
Well, that's it's a huge can of worms, because if you think about when COVID started, we had no idea what it was or how it was going to affect us. And then we got shut down, and so we kind of semi-operated, playing by the rules. And then we, got a little bit more scary that, this is what it's doing. And then therefore, okay, what are we going to do? And then we open up, and it's like they have all these new rules, and it's like, okay, we try to conform to the rules, and your emotions my emotions were all over the place. I was so frustrated with, okay, I've got a background in microbiology. I'm a pathogen microbiologist by trade. I used to make ice cream and make sure people were safe. We fed babies, right? And this got to a point where all this stuff was coming to me, didn't make sense to me. And so I kept fighting it. But what I saw out of this was like, okay, let's navigate it. And then all of a sudden there's government opportunity and government grants and nonprofit grants and all these different things that are over. So it made me dig into my education and dig into the process of trying to figure out how we were going to navigate this. So I learned how to navigate it, and happened to be that the process that we use, the real estate we have, the cash flow from the real estate was coming in. And so, and as far as the small business goes, it was a whole new opportunity, but you had to just keep knocking on the door and figuring it out and negotiating and talking to your landlord and talking to the people and your partners and looking for nonprofit grants and things like that. You just had to keep going. You couldn't let it get in your way. And as we progressed through it, with the rental situation and real estate market situation, what I saw was there was a lot of opportunity through the CARES Act that they were giving funding to the people that were renting. So our renters and our property income, our landlord, we partnered with them, and they went out and said, hey, here's the United Way or the CARES Act funding, go out and apply for it. And so in a partnership with them, we were able to get a lot of our income to come in. And so we really don't know how many of our tenants don't have jobs, but we do know that the money was coming in. And so now there's another program that come out that we actually can help them apply for it. But eventually what's going to happen as far as what's coming in the future is in the next 6 to 8 months, there's going to be a lot of people that potentially are going to lose their houses because they had forbearance on their mortgages, meaning they've delayed the payments on them. They're going to have to make those payments. There was a lot of help for people who were renting. There were a lot of renters, but there was no help for people who were landlords. And so us as landlords are going to see a tremendous, there's going to be a different market where there's going to be some vacancies coming up. So you have to prepare for vacancies, right? You got to get ready for that. And so in my world, we raise private money to try to figure out how to do that. And we look and we teach real estate investors how to navigate that. But I still see that there's going to be maybe not as bad as the market went down from 2008 to 2011, but I see there's going to be a dip. There's going to be a tremendous volume of properties out there. And so if you don't know how to buy real estate, kind of where I was in 2008, if you're interested in getting into rentals, you're interested in getting, some cash flow properties, it's time to get education and kind of get moving that direction. But I kind of see that there's a lot of opportunity coming up because I think there's someone that said it, and Dean, my friend Dean, he kind of found it, and I heard it the other night, and someone told me it again. It's basically never waste a crisis, because in a crisis, there's good and bad. You have to navigate your side, but you also look, there's going to be opportunity at the other side of that, and that's kind of what we're seeing right now.
Yeah. Most definitely. I know you shared a mouthful there to chew on, but man, what an exciting time! What could you say just to piggyback on that answer for somebody who's hungry and ready? What will you be your best advice to them to do? With in preparation, preparing to attack. Like, what would be a plan of action you would say for a person who wants to take advantage of those market? What kind of direction and confirmation would you be able to give them?
Well, what I would say now is get your ducks in a row. If your finances aren't, stabilized, well, that's one thing that's happened over this time was we all got to spend a lot more time with our families and got closer to our families because we weren't able to go out and play, right? And so, in some of the classes and some of the things, and you've experienced this yourself, Danny, is we try to make sure that the family's on the same page. You got to be on the same page in your family and have the same goals. And so part of that foundation is to talk about your finances and talk about your finances once a month or twice a month, and not talk about it in a you spend this and you spend that, talking about it and say, hey, here's what we got. How do we move forward? How do we adjust what we're doing now to move forward? Because you can sit back and be upset that you don't have enough money, or you can make moves to make more money, and you can make more money by getting a second job, by looking at your current finances, by decreasing your debt, by investing in a business, investing in real estate, going out and using your experiences and your personality just to share with people the good things that you have. Like for me, I'm not a salesperson. I just share what I did and how I do it and try to help people. And I think, Danny, you're the same way. But I think building that foundation is number one. Number two, if you are going to move into something, never buy something you don't understand. There's a lot of investment opportunities out there. So you can get into Bitcoin, you can get into the cryptocurrency situation, you can get into the stock market, you can get into mutual funds, you can get into REITs, you can buy a lawn business, you can start a batting cage. I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do, but don't start something unless you understand it. And then back to what you were saying earlier, don't be afraid to start. Because I always think about, video games. When you talk about video games, and not that we should be playing a whole lot of video games, but when you start in a video game, there's a path. And you step on one path, boom, you're over, you get another life, right? In real life, it's the same thing. If you make a mistake, you'll learn from the mistake and you can move to the next level. But if you have someone who might be able to help you guide that way, and things like what Danny's doing here in this Triple F program is important, because it's going to give you some ideas and maybe help navigate some of those first couple steps. But then trust yourself, trust what you know. And, get educated, because getting educated is the next step. And then once you get educated, it took me 6 months to feel comfortable when I bought my first property. And that's kind of where I got. So get yourself educated, build your foundation, get yourself educated, and you can move forward. And don't be afraid, trust yourself.
Awesome. No, I think about the association from the time I met you to now, and how much I have benefited from receiving not only just the wisdom that flows out of you, but I also encourage others that you get around association, people that are actually moving in the direction that you want to go. There's a saying that we are the 5 people that we hang out the most with, right? We're the average of those 5 people. And those 5 people are like, Tony, I'm telling you, it's only a matter of time before you become the sixth one, right? But if you look around the 5 people that you're around, and they're not heading in the same direction that you desire to go, I would encourage you to find a new 5 people to help you in that. And I love how Tony framed it. You know, one of the things I've learned through his teaching of learning from him in the last 6 months is, you know, knowledge is like getting knowledge is good, it's powerful, but it's not enough, right? It's when you apply the knowledge, when you put it into action and make it work for you. This is where I believe the Bible teaches us, right? It's like until you take action of everything that God has laid out, none of it will come to fruition. We're just reading and having aha moments, having awareness, but awareness is not going to pay our bills. It's not going to give us the lifestyle, right? But it will when we start failing forward and being around people that are like-minded, that's heading in the same direction that you're going. I so appreciate that, sir. And just wrapping up here, any last advice that you want to give to someone who may be listening to this show on a replay and say, man, you know, I don't really understand the ballhead guy, but I get, you know, what Tony's talking about. What would be the next step? What would be the thing for them to take a step forward and get themselves educated on the show on taking action?
Well, and that's kind of what we got with our Epic training and development here is we do have the financial foundations. You know, for our basic program, it's going to be this Saturday, 9:00. And we talk about, you know, getting out of debt. In fact, this weekend is going to be different because this weekend we're going to talk about, you know, basically paying off your debt faster. We're going to talk about maybe how to start that small business. And we're talking about getting started in real estate. And, you know, those classes are free. So every Saturday, you know, we try to tweak a little bit. We have conversations. Get yourself in a mastermind. Go ahead and go out there and look for some people around you. Like Danny says, the 5 people around you. Now, when somebody told me that, I was like, well, you know, I play softball and, you know, we have a couple of beers here and there. And that's what I was. I was a good beer drinker and I could play softball. Now, I don't eliminate that out of my life. I just don't do it as much. And so I spend more time working and getting an enjoyment out of like working with the kids, seeing these kids moving forward. And so being semi-retired to where I'm at now, it's now all of a sudden I got this wonderful thing I'm sitting here watching these kids develop, and it's just so enlightening and so good for me that's what we're trying to do here. So I guess the key thing being, like, to answer your question, Danny, we have an event on Saturday, and you can reach out to Danny, and you know it's at Epic, our Facebook page, Epic Foundation, and you can come watch and listen to what we got to say. It's more of a formal presentation. It's about a 45-minute to an hour and 15-minute presentation, depending on how many jokes I have. But it's to get you the basics. And if you like it, great. And if you don't like it, it's just, you know, it's some of your time. And time is money too. But you can check it out. And then if you decide you want to move forward, everything we do here, you know, if you want to get forward with it, you know, donations to the facility, they go to the kids to help keep the cost down. But get started and just like, I think the biggest thing, Danny, you hit it on the head. Get a circle of friends around you that are going to help you move in that direction and spend some time with them. You know, you don't have to get rid of your other friends because, you know, I have some real good friends that, you know, I still hang out with that don't do what I do. But hanging out with Danny, we're on the same page, and this is a new circle that we're in. And it's been about 1.5 years now, and I remember meeting him the first time. This was all a dream, and it's happening. Activity creates activity.
Amen. Amen. Well, we appreciate you, brother. I know time is a commodity we can't buy back. I thank you for investing the time and sewing into not only our Hawaii, but I hope that people will be listening to this stream on replay from all over the world. I mean, I want to piggyback an encouragement. If you do desire to learn more about how to reduce debt, get out of debt, pay your car note down faster, your mortgage down faster, get out of credit card debt, things of that nature, definitely tune in or reach out to me or Tony to be able to guide you along to get you the information for the class. But I think the best thing you say, well, one of the best things, you say a lot of great things today, but it's free. The information is free, guys. And so we can't, and I say this from a place of love, right? We can't blame the government. We can't blame our state. We can't blame our governor, the president, for where we are at financially, right? They're not going to come do it for us. But it's opportunity. It's people like Tony who have a heart to give. He's doing it for free, right? Do you know that there's people that's charging the same information, $5,000, $3,000, even up to $12,000 or $20,000, right? They're charging them, and you're getting them for free. So, I don't know about you, but I like the word free. And I know that there's nothing free in life because you have to pay with your time. But if your heart desire for something different next year, I'm encouraging you that we have to do something different this year, right? In order for next year to be different. Guys, I'm so excited. Tony, thank you so much for being on. Definitely peace and blessings upon you and the Epic Foundation. Keep shining that light on the Windward side because it's overflowing not only outside of the Windward, but into our Hawaii and then on to nationwide. So appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you, Danny. It's blessed to have you as a friend, and thank you for inviting me into your world. We'll see you when you guys get back. Aloha.
Aloha. Aloha. Hey, thank you so much. We will definitely see you next Thursday. We're going to do some takeaway off of Tony's shares here. So make sure we're going to post the link after we edit it out so that you'll be able to come back and get some takeaway from it, and then we can have some discussion. So get your questions in to answer. Get your question in so that we can answer them on the takeaway next Thursday at 7 p.m. We also got a giveaway for those of you who go us out and share and add your friends and family to our Triple F page, and some of our Facebook ads are on there so that you can definitely add your friends and family onto our page. Let's make a difference together. Let's partner together, and let's make a difference together in our Hawaii. Take care. God bless, and aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha. Thank you, sir.